How do I make sober friends and build a support system? Okay, this is a good question because you attract what you are. And so if I'm living in my addiction, when I was living in my addiction, I'm attracting people that are in their addiction. All of my whole life was revolved around drinking and doing drugs and being selfish and self-centered, and it's all about Tim. And so I attracted people that supported that type of a lifestyle. So now I get sober and I'm sober. I'm living a sober life. I want but my lifestyle hasn't changed yet. So the people that are living a sober lifestyle don't necessarily want to hang out with me yet. So they say, stick with the winners. And so so for me, my experience is that I start going to AA meetings. My first 2 years in recovery, my whole life was recovery. So I went to 1 or 2 meetings a day. I went to the meeting before the meeting. I went to the meeting after the meeting. I went to all the sober events. And then, and so going to the meeting before the meeting and the meeting after the meeting meant that I started making friendships with people that were in recovery. I called my sponsor every single day and I learned how to be intimate. I learned intimacy. I learned how to be vulnerable, which I didn't know how to be vulnerable prior to being clean and sober. So me being vulnerable and not just being Mr. Cool Guy, because before I got sober, I was Mr. Cool Guy. I was Mr. Cool Guy. I was always right. I knew everything and work hard, play hard. And that wasn't going to, I had a huge ego. That wasn't going to attract the type of people that I really wanted to in my life. And so when I first, so it was I'd say it was a slow progression. Meetings, 1 or 2 meetings a day, meeting before the meeting after the meeting, showing up early to meetings, staying late, golfing with people in the meetings, going to the gym with people in the meetings. Then next thing you know, I started doing yoga. I started doing things that were focused, for me, it was focused on health and wellness. So I started doing yoga and I'd show up early to yoga. I'd stay late. Next thing you know, I'm seeing people at yoga that I also see at meetings. And then I start seeing people at coffee shops, and then I start seeing people at restaurants, and then I just start seeing people, and then I started doing CrossFit, and so I'm doing CrossFit, and there you go. There's 1 or 2 people, friends of Bill, other people in recovery. That was very comforting for me. And then I started doing spin, and then I'm hiking Camelback Mountain, I'm hiking Piestewa Peak, and lo and behold, there's people that are in recovery that I see from meetings. And so next thing you know, I'm connecting with these people at meetings. I know that they hike. I know they do yoga. I know they like to do spin. I know they like to work out. And next thing you know, I'm hanging out with these people and I'm doing different activities. So it goes from every single activity in my life being revolved around drinking and doing drugs, which I know I'm not alone. Everything I did revolved around drinking and doing drugs. And so my life has completely changed. I mean, I've done Ironman a couple of times. I'm a certified yoga instructor. I've done CrossFit. I've done high intensity interval training. There's a wellness center that I frequent where I do cold plunge. I do infrared sauna. I do, I do compression boots, and there's just, so I've started to really just attract a different type of person into my life. And, this is the other thing that that people have issues with is dating while in sobriety. And I had a sponsee that I worked with, and I remember when he first started dating, I think he waited a year before he actually started dating, which I also waited a year before I started dating. I think one of the reasons you want to wait a year is because you're still crazy. I mean, I was still batshit crazy, and most people are still batshit crazy their first year in recovery. So, and you attract what you are. So if you're batshit crazy, you're going to attract people that are batshit crazy. So waiting a year before you start dating was really good for me, and really good for a lot of people. So anyways, going back to this sponsee that I was working with, and I don't think he started dating. Maybe he started dating a little early, and he was doing online dating. And I remember when he first started, there were a couple of women that he dated when he told them that he was in recovery, when he told them that he was sober, they didn't want to date him anymore. And I'm like, that's interesting. I've never had that issue. I don't have that issue. I don't remember ever having that issue. And maybe it's just because he put off a different vibe, and maybe he just wasn't ready to date yet. And here we are. It's been a couple of years. Gosh, I think he's been sober for over 2.5 years now, and he's in a relationship right now. He's doing great. He's dated. His dating, I've seen him date many women, or not many women. I don't want to say it like that, but he's dated and he's been in relationships. And from my perspective, he's been in some pretty healthy relationships, and he doesn't drink. And the women that he attracts, they don't drink, and they're not going to balk at him if he says, I don't drink. And if someone doesn't want to go out with him because they don't drink, it's not a big deal. And if you're newly sober and you want to date and you're afraid that everybody drinks and it's going to be a turnoff, then I don't know, maybe you're not ready to start dating, or eventually just, stick with it. You will, as you change and as you transform, you'll start attracting people that live the same type of lifestyle that you want. At the end of the day, that's what we want, right? We want to surround ourselves with people that are living the life that we want.